Okay, this is chapter 8. I did modify the slides a little bit, so I did put the new ones up there so you can see them. All right. So we're pretty much talking about wireless attacks. It's going to cover Bluetooth, NFC, radio frequency, and wireless. Bluetooth, everybody knows what Bluetooth is. Do you have Bluetooth headphones or anything? Anybody? I'm actually surprised at how well they work. You know, I got the Apple AirPods, and they actually work really, really well. So.
I had them too for Android.
You have what?
I had them too for Android.
Yeah. And do they work good?
Yeah.
Nice. Because I'm really impressed with how well that works. They also talk about PicoNet. PicoNet is basically, they show a picture of it here, is you have a master and slave device where this is still over Bluetooth, but one device can control many. You can have, I think, up to 8 at the time. It probably says that somewhere in here. You can have up to 8 devices at a time, but you can actually have up to 255, but only 8 active at a time. So it's just another way of having Bluetooth. They talk about bluejacking, where someone can send unsolicited stuff. That happens all the time. Not normally through Bluetooth, but we get unsolicited stuff all the time. Someone can send sounds. And actually, it was about 1.5 years ago now. It was actually a text message. It wasn't through Bluetooth, but it targeted iPhones, and somebody could send and reboot your phone. So I remember that happening. But bluejacking is annoying, but really not harmful because they don't get any data. Now, blue snarfing, that's where they go in and actually steal your data. They can capture data off laptops and cell phones and emails and all that stuff. Okay, now, I added something in here. They talk about making it non-discoverable. That's a biggie. We had a bunch of high school students over, I don't know, a couple semesters ago, and someone just brought up a Bluetooth scanner. It was like half the students had their phones undiscoverable. So you probably shouldn't leave it that way. Okay. So do not accept parent requests unless you know what the heck it is. If you're pairing something, you should know you're pairing something. It should pop up and say, please enter this code, so you know you're doing it. It says keep sensitive away. You know, this is a good point. Never store sensitive information on a Bluetooth-enabled device. It just makes sense, but a lot of people do it. NFC is very popular as well. Near-field communications, we mainly know that when we talk about Amazon Pay or Google Pay, Apple Pay, and all those. You have to get them within 4 centimeters, or can they basically touch. I use Apple Pay all the time. Do you use anything like that, anybody? No. You don't use it? You don't use Apple Pay with your iPhone? It's amazing. Because what it actually does, the reason I like it the most, I went to Subway when it first came out. And it actually generates a one-time use credit card number every time you use it. That way, if someone even stole that number, it's a one-time only. So it's not like they can use it again. So it's not like your actual credit card is being used. And it's really handy. I use it at the commissary on base. I do it with my Apple Watch. I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, NFC is very, very handy. And they kind of show a picture of it. It uses magnetic induction, very similar to an induction cooktop. They don't got induction cooktop. Yes.
No, I was going to say, I have the Sony WH-1000 MX3 headphones.
Right.
They use NFC. It's great too.
They do?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing.
I did not know that. Okay. But I tell you, induction, I bought my wife an induction cooktop. She loves it. The only thing she uses now. It's all magnetic. You can actually put a towel down on top of the stove, and then your pot to cook on. Then just pick up the towel and throw it in the wash when you're done. It's magnetic. It transfers the heat that way. It still gets hot because of the heat of the pot, but it's all magnetic. And as soon as you're done cooking, you can wipe it off, and it is just. And what I like about it is when the pot is removed, it turns off automatically. It's not. Now I got a mother-in-law who lives with us who got dementia, so we're always worried about her doing stuff. This way, if she's cooking and knocks it off the stove immediately turns off. So, but NFC works really well. It's got an interrogator and a tag and magnetic fields. We talk a little bit more about it here in a second, but we see a lot of it, and that's pretty much the picture you see when you go to Walmart. Actually, Walmart's one of the other places that doesn't support it. But when you go to most other stores, you see a picture like that, which means it accepts payment. Automobile also uses it. Retail stores, years ago, I went and, actually, it's mainly RFID. We can talk that in a second. But I bought a wallet And every time I would walk into Walgreens, you know those stupid sensors there, they would go off. Okay, and it drove me crazy for the longest time. What it was is in the back of the wallet there was an RFID tag, and it happened to be at the same frequency at the Walmart store. So every time I took that wallet into Walmart, it would go off. So it was pretty scary. But NFC is mainly in payment systems. That's where we see it the most. Okay. And here we talk about RFID. That picture would have been better over here. But it's used to transmit data between anything. I was at which hotel did I just use recently? I was at the Gaylord, whatever, Suites in National Harbor. All those cards are RFID now. You just put it up to it and blinks, the door unlocks, and you can get in. So RFID is becoming very, very, very popular. So most are passive. In other words, you're really not doing anything until you put it against something that activates it. So they're kind of cool. But they are susceptible to attacks. People can clone them by walking up close. That's why you can get these little magnetic sleeves for them. Here's a picture. This is ShopRite. They're actually rolling out their second test of RFID shopping carts. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but I put 2 videos in here. Now the first one is kind of kiddish, but it's kind of cool. You'll like it if I can get it to play. Come on, play. There it goes. Hopefully it's online, you can hear it. This was really just music anyway. So their system interrogated all the stuff in her cart, all the RFID tags, and she just paid it and then you walk out. Okay, that's the end of that one. We're going to watch. What was the chat? Yeah, I know the animation is really bad. Now the next one's a little bit better. There was a different video which I could not find. Let's watch this one.
4 years ago, we started to wonder, what would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go? What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of a store, so you never have to wait in line? No lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go. Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart. If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically. So how does it work? We use computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion, much like you'd find in self-driving cars. We call it Just Walk Out technology. Once you've got everything you want, you can just go. When you leave, our Just Walk Out technology adds up your virtual cart and charges your Amazon account. Your receipt is sent straight to the app, and you can keep going. Amazon Go.
All right, what do y'all think? Yeah, and they actually are very, very, very accurate. Now, my question is, y'all know what a Faraday cage is? You ever heard of a Faraday cage? Okay, here, let me pull up a Faraday cage so you can see what they look like. What a Faraday cage. It's hard to get with this thing on here. There's actually a show out there called Enemy of the State with Gene Hackman. It's really good. What a Faraday cage is, this, you can see these cages here. These are considered Faraday cages, but it's a metallic structure. So what you could actually do is take a bag with aluminum foil. As you take, you know, her little shopping cart, as she's putting stuff in it, if that was made of aluminum, the signal couldn't get out and she would never get charged. So.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people on YouTube that
yeah.
get stuff free.
Yeah, but you know, if you think about it though, Okay, obviously there's stuff's going to happen because people are going to do stuff like that. But you know, what's the percentage of thefts that's going to happen that way? Probably not that many, because a lot of people don't even know what it is. But RFID is in pretty much anything. It's in tracking. It's in pretty much every product nowadays. I bought a shirt, and up underneath the collar was an RFID tag on the shirt. So it's pretty amazing how it's everywhere. So they call that sensor fusion, but it's really RFID tags. They probably have it just a little more advanced, but pretty amazing stuff that's happening. Okay, so what else? What did they say there on it? They said some people can make fake tags, unauthorized tags. Eavesdropping, people can actually read the tags. So they're, you know, scary stuff. But I expect to see that more and more as we go along, because it's so handy. Okay, it says wireless LAN is designed to replace LAN, or WLAN is. Okay, it's been around for a long time. The IEEE standard is 802.11, and let's talk a little bit more about it here. The IEEE, yeah, they come up with it in 1984, and they came out, there it is on the second line, they released 802.11. It started off with B. I don't know why they didn't start with A. A came out later, which was weird. They came out with B, which gave us 5.5 megs and up to 11 megabits per second. Okay, A is the 5 gig spectrum. Now it's much faster than that. G came out, oh, they didn't give us the date. G came out. G actually works alongside B because it's a much faster rate. Okay. N came out in 2009, even faster, and AC came out in 2014. Is anyone using AC right now? Anybody? Okay, I use AC, and it is super. I get 300 meg throughput at home all the time. Very nice. So my house, when I designed it, it actually has wires in every wall in every room. But I'm only using, I think, 4 wires right now. Everything else is wireless in my house. So it works that well. Here's the different, you know, look at the data rates. B was 11 megabits, then went to 54, then up to 600, then 7 gig, then 7.2 gigs. Indoor range, I think A dropped off, didn't it? Yeah, A is less than B. And then we have even AC is a little bit less. But outdoor range, you know, 460 feet for AC, so it goes quite a bit. And, you know, the funny thing is, we're 2019. I'm surprised we haven't seen anything newer yet. There's probably other stuff out there, but okay. To get it to work, we need an access card, and we also need some access points. Now, there's actually 8 of them in this building. If you were to walk down the hallways, if you ever see a green dot on the ceiling, like there's one right outside of my office, there's an access point in the ceiling. That's what the green dots mean. But they're all over, and if you have, you can scan them. If you have an Android device, you can scan them, or you can scan them with your laptop. Our iPhones will not show you the different frequencies that are out there. But you need an access point, which is where your device connects to be transitioned over to the wired network. Okay, it says it acts as a base station or a bridge between the wire and the wireless. Okay, here's a picture of it. We have our laptop, our smartphone connected to our access point, which then connects us into the network, and we can get wherever. Okay, I remember when Rose State did not have wireless for the longest time. When they first started implementing it, they did like one building, like humanities. And their plan was to add 1 building a year. Or like, then someone found, no, they finally implemented it everywhere pretty quickly. But due to the cost, they were going to do a phased implementation. But it was like, the different divisions, no, put us next. We want to go next. And it was pretty stupid. But the wireless is pretty much everywhere now, even though our wireless here is intermittent. It works fine, but it won't hold a sustained connection, which is weird. It was funny. I was on a cruise ship a couple years ago, and I did a quick scan of the network. There's over 3,000 connections on the cruise ship to the wireless network. It was crazy. I could not believe that many people. It was very slow. I wonder why, because there's 3,000 on the darn network. And I was on a cruise 3 weeks ago, and the network was very fast. And I found out that's because the ship has the newest Wi-Fi, but also it was in the middle of a semester, so there was no kids on the cruise. Because you don't have to bring kids. They all have their phones, and they're all going to be on everything all the time. So that was kind of nice. But over spring break, I'm going on another cruise, and that We'll see how slow that one is, because you know that's going to pull kids. Let's see how that works. But they talked about a couple different modes. They talked about infrastructure mode and ad hoc mode. Okay, infrastructure is what we mainly use. Ad hoc is like a direct connect between them. Okay. We also can have a residential gateway. It says used by small offices or homes to connect to the internet. We all have that nowadays. We have some router at home that supports it. Do you guys have separate routers or are the ones provided by your ISP? Do you even know?
I have one Verizon. It's like a modem router.
You don't know what you have? Come on now. You got to know this stuff. I never use the one they provide. I always get my own. So. All right, and it says the network well-defined boundary is basically a hard edge. When you set up your enterprise, like here at Rose State, the original plan was to have wireless available in the buildings and in the center area, but not outside there. So it does actually bleed over, but the signal toward the parking lot is not as good as it is toward the middle of the campus. Okay. Some of the problems we could have here are rogue access points. They've actually found those. Someone in the engineering building, someone took a wireless router and just plugged it into the network to get it wireless years ago. So, evil twins. Actually, they talk about each one of these. Let's go through each one of these. There's the network hard edge. Come on. Here, rogue access point, unauthorized access point that allows an attacker to bypass network security, and someone plugs one in. Okay, you've actually seen it in quite a few different movies. Evil twin. It says someone sets up an access point that looks legit, but it's not. You can actually use Wi-Fi Pineapple, which I own, is here somewhere. And what's cool about the Wi-Fi Pineapple is it pretends it's any access point you want. So when you turn your laptop on there, it has a list of known wireless networks. Well, my Wi-Fi net, so you're broadcasting looking for those networks. My Wi-Fi Pineapple would intercept that broadcast and tell you it's that network. So maybe you've been connected to a Hilton hotel once. So you're looking for a Hilton whatever. So my Wi-Fi partner says, oh, I'm Hilton. And it would just make a fake network that you could connect to, get out to the internet, and then I can capture all your data. So it's scary stuff. It's called Wi-Fi Pineapples, and they're very cheap, like $49.
So it would still function normal. It's just like you're actually taking the data that I'm going through.
Yes. It depends how I use it. I could use it just to scan your computer, or you could actually go through me. In other words, you could use, I would actually function as an access point, but be able to see all your data. So it's very scary. You don't know where you're connecting to. And the weird thing is, say you're going to connect to the Hilton Hotel. And when you're at the Hilton Hotel, you had to put in your last name and a room number. But with the Wi-Fi Pineapple, I don't ask for any of that. And your computer, if it finds one, even without the security, it'll still connect to it, which is scary. So what you should do is go into your laptop and delete all old networks. But how many of us do that? I just went in mine the other day, and I saw some from me. Like, whoa, I ain't been on these in a long time. You can just go into wireless settings and find them all and remove. That's why it's so easy, like Rose State. Most people, when they connect to it, they say connect automatically. That way they don't have to keep connecting every time. And by doing that, it remembers it. So, scary stuff, but a lot of people do it. Okay? So, evil twin, not a good thing. Here's an example. I couldn't really figure out what the heck they were doing. There's just an extra access point sitting out there that people don't realize. Okay? And in this picture here, this is an access point set up, and people from the outside can connect to that one that's into the network. Like I said, in engineering, someone just plugged one in. Here's our evil twin. These people don't realize they're connecting to a fake one. Okay. Intercepting, it says the attacker can pick up the RF signal. You ever heard of a Cantana before? Let's find a picture of a Cantana. We actually owned one at one point. I don't think we own them anymore. Talking about these here. You can actually buy them. Cantana is like this top. We actually bought one just like this one on the top right. And that is a targeted, it basically targets your Wi-Fi antenna. So you can connect for a very long distance away. My son was at an apartment in Phoenix, and we used one of those to connect to some free Wi-Fi far away. So you can actually use something like that. So you could get that and be parked, way far away and point a roast and be able to capture rotates wireless and connect to it and use it. So those are can 10s. You can actually make them out of Pringles cans like they did here, or actually any kind of can. There's lots of instructions, but they're cheap now. Let's see what this guy does he even have it. They're pretty darn cheap. Well, there's a price somewhere. Oh, order. No. Well, you can buy them. They're not very expensive. Okay. Okay, wireless replay attack is also known as hijacking. The attacker captures transmitted wireless data, records it, and then sends it to the original recipient without the attacker realizing it. It doesn't always work because there's a lot of stuff now that prevents replay attack, but it can happen. Okay, Wi-Fi denial of service. You can jam the signal. Like they say here, RF jamming. You can spoof it. You can make a fake access point. And you can also manipulate data. So there's a lot of stuff that can be done. That's why it's not really a good idea to connect to wireless that you don't know of. But we all do it. Everybody does. And unless you have your Wi-Fi turned off, you connect quite a bit. Okay, what can they do? It says wireless home attacks is most home users don't even configure their wireless. When I was at the University of Tulsa, the guy in the apartment above me used to listen to god-awful music at all hours of night. I used to bang on the ceiling with a broom, getting to shut up. But I got so mad at him one day. His wireless access point had no password on it. So I went in and I was nice. I secured his wireless for him to set a password on it for him. So he'll never be able to get it again. He'll just have to reset it. But the point is, you know, a lot of people don't set passwords. You know, nothing against Destiny, but you don't even know what you have. So hopefully someone in your house does. Okay, good. That's good news. But I mean, my mother-in-law, okay, she's terrible, but she could never set up anything securely. She could barely even use anything. But there's a lot of people like that. They don't know. They don't know how it works. And a lot of times they come with default settings. Now, the good thing is nowadays a lot of devices are making you change the password. They come with a password set, but you can't continue until you change it. So that's a nice feature. Okay? They can steal data. They can read your transmissions. They can inject malware. They can just do nothing else. They can just steal your bandwidth. Okay? It says the original committee recognized transmissions should be or could be vulnerable. So they worked on that, and they start talking about WEP. WEP is Wired Equivalency Protocol, which, oh, there it is. Okay, right there at the top. It was originally made, the plan was to have wireless traffic that was as secure as wired. It failed miserably. You know, like it says there, it has a 64 128-bit key, but had an initialization vector of 24 bits, but that was always repeated. Okay? And if you ever take the cryptography class, you learn that repeated stuff is not good. So with WEP, the initialization vector is always repeated, so people at that point can break it. I think it takes about 5 seconds to break WEP right now. That's all it takes. Pretty quick. Okay. Then we came out with WPS, Wi-Fi protected setup. You can have a PIN. You can have a push button setup, which is kind of nice. Push button and your device connects to it. But and there are flaws in these as well. So they have come out with, well, where is it at? Okay. They came out with WPA 2, which here, oh, let's show something else we can do here first. This second one, I was actually talking to a friend last week about this. There's something called MAC filtering, MAC address filtering. This is really a good way. So you could go into your wireless router at home, and I think they show us a picture. And you could enter your MAC address. You could say only accept devices with this address, which is a good thing. That only known devices would be able to get on your network. But the problem with that is every device you wanted to get on your network, you'd have to get, like if you came over to my house, I would have to get your phone. I would have to add you in there manually so you could use the network. And it's hard to do, and a lot of people forget about it. So, and actually a friend of mine set his up so long ago. He was trying to set up his son came over and was trying to get his phone on the network. He couldn't connect for nothing. Then he realized he had MAC filtering turned on, so he had to go add his MAC address in there. So it's a good way of doing it, but it is I don't know, it's hard to configure because you have to do it all the time. Yes.
Isn't that what you say that buying your own router is better than getting the one provided to you by your service provider?
Yeah. Right. You can do all kinds of stuff. Like mine at home, I can block people, I can set up profiles where I can say, this device can only be on the network from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I can also set up a guest network. I can also set up MAC filtering. I can specify my own DNS. There's lots of different things I can do that normally when you get one that's provided, you can't. So I just like that better. And I'll tell you, I bought an Eero. I'll show you what Eero is. I showed one of my classes, but I don't know which class. Yeah, I showed, I bought my Eero. That's what it looks like right there. They work really, really good. I'm surprised at how well they work. My wife didn't even know I switched because she saw one sitting my mother-in-law was doing. She's like, "What the heck is this white box?" I'm like, "It's the wireless." Did you bought her a wireless? I'm like, "No, I replaced the whole wireless in the whole house." She's like, she didn't even know. And it works really well because it determined what channels to be on, and it just works wonderful in my entire house. So very pleased with it. Okay. But MAC filtering, it's very good, but you got to remember you have it turned on. Okay. And here's where you would put it. You'd go in there and you'd add the different MAC addresses one at a time. Then you'd have, let those on your network. SSID, that's a service set identifier. That's that name. Whatever you like here is RSC guest or RSC public or whatever the heck you guys connect to. Right. Well, even if you hide that information, it's still broadcast. So hiding it really does no good. For the longest time, I had mine at home. I set my name to FBI van. I just changed it to different names just to drive people crazy. But something not to do is put your address would not be a good one. Stuff like that. Because, the people know exactly where you're at. So it's not advertising or SSID only provides a weak degree of security. Like I said, it really gives you nothing because they can be captured. Okay? And sometimes you can't turn it off. You got to the point where SSID broadcasting really doesn't matter if it's broadcast or not. So I mean, a lot of devices you can't even turn off nowadays because it does no good. Okay. Unified approach they come up with. WPA, okay, WPA and WPA2. Let's look at those. Okay, they came out in 2003. WPA Personal and Enterprise. It says WPA addresses both encryption and authentication. It uses with TKIP and what it says there, a Temporal Key Integrity Protocol. It uses WPA with a 128-bit key. It's actually been out for quite a while. What year did it say? 2003 it came out. But you know what? A lot of people are still using WEP, which is crazy. A lot of people don't even realize what they're doing. Tell you, drive through your neighborhood someday. I bet you see a lot of devices with WEP on them. Okay. It also uses the PSK, which is a pre-shared key. So you configure that on both the server or whatever the access point and the device. And like I said, there's shared private communications taking place. If they don't match, you're not going to get anywhere. So WPA works very well. So key sharing is done manually without protection. It must be changed on a regular basis, and that brings up a problem. How many people change their keys? No one does. Okay, and you must give the key to guest users. Okay. And the second generation, which came out in 2004, is a lot better. At least that's what I'm using now. Okay, we have WPA2 Personal and Enterprise. And it handles encryption and authentication. It uses AES. Has anyone you've had cryptography yet? No? No? Well, you'll get to it.
I have.
One of you, at least one of you has, I know. I know Alex has. But you're going to learn all about AES. AES is pretty much the way to go nowadays. WPA2 supports AES. So next time you're going to go configure your wireless router, select WPA2 and AES if you can. They probably might not allow you to select it, but so it supports cipher block chaining, again, what you learn about in the other class. It talks about how the different blocks of data are chained together. Okay, and okay, let's move on. And here's how they talk about how it works. The authentication works. You ask to join the network. Then step 2, the authenticator asks to verify the identity. Then they send the identity token to it, and approve to join the network. Then they pass the identity token to the server. and then you verify it, and then you're basically on the network. So it's a good way of doing it, and it works quite well. Okay, EAP, Extensible Authentication Protocol. There's request, response, all those. It's another way of handling authentication. Okay. And here's some different versions of it. TLS, that's the one, I think that's the most popular. That's one I've seen the most. I haven't even seen the fast one. So, but digital certificate for authentication, that's one I've seen more than anything. Okay. Other security steps that can be taken. Rogue access point. Now, our wireless network here can actually detect rogue access points. So if I was to turn on one, I can guarantee your IT services will come over here and say what's going on, because they're pretty good about that. Using the correct type of access points is important. Configuring it correctly is important. Peripherals, inspection is important at all. And here's about detection. Again, our wireless system does that. You can, if you have an Android device, you can download Wi-Fi scanner. Actually, there's one you can, see, the iPhone won't do it. The iPhone does not allow you to see channels, which sucks. I don't know why they haven't done that. But you can see you'll be able to walk through this building and see all the different access points showing you all the different channels around. So it's kind of cool, okay? And let's see what else there is. Oh, they talk about fat and thin, okay? First one, let's talk about thin ones. It says a lightweight access point does not handle any management. It allows you to connect, but that's about it. You can't do anything with it. So that's considered a thin access point. If it does have management capabilities like your real estate, that's considered fat because you actually can control them much more. The ones in your house are probably thin. Okay, they really don't do a lot. Then you have controller versus standalone, then access. Then like they talk about here, they manage through a dedicated controller like we have here. Again, this is really on the enterprise level. Okay, and handoff procedures. Handoff is kind of important. Can you imagine walking around this building? If you connected the access point right outside this door, you would not be able to get a signal on the other side of the building. So it has to hand you off as you go around. That's why you want the SSID to be the same. Okay. And there's one with a controller where they can configure it. Okay. Captive portal. Captive portals are where they allow you to connect, maybe to download security software or allow you to log in. It's kind of like you go to the Rose State Wireless. What's the first thing it says? Username, password, they're going to scroll way down to the bottom and accept. That's a captive portal. It lets you to connect, to do something. Then once you're authenticated, then you can continue on for the rest of the network. So that's what a captive portal is. It's just like in your hotel, you got to connect and put it in your room and all that, and then you're on the network. Okay. Other access point settings, there's lots of different settings. You can set signal strength, you can set channels, you can set up boundaries. But most people don't. Okay. You can also do site surveys to see where systems are in your network. Okay. Signal strength, obviously, you want them high, but you don't want them to the point where they're going outside of your bounds. Hence the border they talked about. It says reducing power allows less signal to reach outsiders. And here they talked about the frequency band, channel selection. You can change the channel, you can change the frequency, you can change the width, you can change all of that so they don't conflict with each other. So just basic stuff you can do. Okay. Antennas says they should be located near the center of your coverage area. Like I have one in the center of my house, and I have one in the master bedroom, which is off to the corner. They talk about differences or distances. One attacker could let a threat inject mouse movements or keystrokes from a nearby antenna up to 100 feet away. There was actually an issue with the, I think it was the Microsoft wireless keyboards where people can control them for quite a distance away. Okay, so having, protect your peripherals, like what it says. Okay, that's pretty much the end of this chapter. It's nothing all that major. Any questions on anything? Is anyone still alive online? I see 9 people there.
I'm here.
All right, we have 1 person. We got a couple of you. Okay, good. All right, I think there's 1 lab for this chapter, but again, we are 1 week ahead on the lectures. So
looks like chapter 7 and 8 are both due on the 9th.
Yeah, well, I changed one of the dates back to give you more time on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think I should change chapter 6 because once in a while people have a good excuse, so I'll go ahead and change dates, and it was just easier for me to change it for everybody. So actually, wait, 8th is due on the 9th as well?
Yeah, chapter 7 and chapter 8. The lab and the quiz are all due on the 9th.
Wait, let me look. Hold on. And when's chapter 9 is on the 16th. Yeah,
Chapter 7 and 8.
Yeah, I think we had to have 2 due on this week. So I'll check that, but I think that's correct. If it's
Okay.
wrong, I'll change it. Yes. So I know I changed 6 to be the lab to be due on the 9th. 7 and 8, if I remember right, we're both due on the same day on purpose. But I'll check that. If it's wrong, I will fix it. All right. And yeah, because the problem is there's too many chapters. If you figure in the chapters plus all the exams, there's too many to fit in the 16-week class. So that's why some of these have to have 2.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Yeah, you see it looks like 14 and 15 are due on the same day as well. Yeah. All right, if you have any questions, I'm going to stop this recording.